Hello, mind readers, and welcome to another floundering installment of Readers Aside. I just I just tapped out on. I just tried to do this just now, and then after about 8 minutes of rambling on about what goes on in Moby Dick, because I read Moby Dick, and then somehow I started talking about it, and then was talking about how great the ending of the book was, and it took up like 8 minutes, and I just felt like that was wholly unnecessary. And well, remember, like last episode, I was saying I didn't want to get going on about too much extraneous bullshit not related to the fucking book I'm reading. Well, I did that. I talked for about 6 minutes about Moby Dick, and the bookstore downtown that I bought it in. How it's all fancy and shit, and maybe I should just move on. Okay, all right, moving on. All right, Moby Dick is a great book, though. Please stop talking about it, okay? Why do I feel the need to explain myself all the time? Is that a common thing amongst the population? Do common people feel the need to explain themselves? Is that common? If that is common, does that mean that I'm common? But no, it can't. No. It could be that I share qualities in common with common folk, but like I've lived all my life, and I think I have the right to say whether or not I'm common. I'm definitely not common. I'm uncommon. I'm surely uncommon. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so today I will be reading a selection from Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. Written, believe it or not, by the Brothers Grimm. Took two of them, I think. I guess two of them. So I've been slowly, this is my own volume, my own personal volume, that I inherited from my father. And it's a rather nice volume. It's hardcover. Page got like gold tinge on it. It's definitely a very nice edition of Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. And I've probably been slowly picking away at these as I do with some books. Maybe as much as 2 years now, I'll just read. I'll just, like, they're quite short, most of them. They go between like half a page and maybe 8 pages at the longest. So I'll just read one every now and then. And they are quite strange. Like, are they as strange as H.P. Lovecraft? Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, like these are the original fairy tales. Like the original Cinderella, the original Snow White, the original Hansel and Gretel. And so, like, they're not what you remember, really. Like, they're odd stories. There's always very odd things happening. Like I realize they're fairy tales, but like, like something like people will be made of gold, and then like someone will eat them, and then they'll survive that and somehow like tear themselves out of that person's stomach and be undigested and completely. Like, whether or not they're made of it, people getting eaten is kind of a common thing, and then people surviving being eaten, and like surviving and escaping out of that person while being still whole, like as if they were like as if they were just swallowed whole, and then undigested and just possibly a little uncomfortable inside the person's stomach, which must have been massively huge at the same time. Like, it's just a lot of shit that where you just you don't ask for an explanation, because it's just how the world works. It's how the fairy tale world works, apparently, in the world of Grimm's fairy tales, where like not a lot of shit needs to make even a lick of sense. I don't think it's really supposed to matter. It's really more just about what is happening for what reason, and whether or not people learn their lesson from it, which they almost never seem to. And what's most common is that you have these stories where like the person makes the same mistake over and over and over and over again, to the extent where like just no one's really that dumb. But I guess fairy tales are kind of a blunt instrument, and they'll keep making that mistake, and they won't learn. And eventually, there's a lot of dark endings in these stories, which is maybe what I was getting at when I was saying this is not the Cinderella you fucking remember, because I don't remember Cinderella. I remember it being a Disney movie, and I doubt it had a very dark ending. And I couldn't tell you if I've even read Cinderella yet. I don't know. But like I've read a number of them. I think I'm up to like 87. There's like over 200, I think. And I'm at what I'm at, number 87. And so I've gotten a good taste of these, and like a lot of them have very dark endings. Like there doesn't seem to be these. I don't know if these stories were initially meant for children, or if they were just because they are kind of condensed down into a into a short form, in which would be easier to digest for children, because most of them are quite short. But you know what? I guess people just needed to raise tougher kids there in the German woods, I imagine, because like almost all these stories seem to take place, in the German wood, probably in like the they call it the Black Forest, right? So maybe we shouldn't be too fucking surprised that a civilization that you know came of its own, in tiny villages dotted around in a fucking forest they call the Black Forest. Like going into the forest is generally supposed to be a frightening thing in these books, especially if going in there too long, staying at night. And like the forest is everywhere basically. Like there's town and then there's forest outside the town, and there's you can travel through towns, but like traveling also appears to be quite fucking dangerous. Maybe that's the point of these fucking stories, to scare fucking the kids into listening to the parents and not going out in the forest, because then they're gonna be fucking raped and robbed and all sorts of manners of crazy things by witches be done to them, and maybe I should just get to reading it. I've been enjoying it, like for what it is, and just for like for the for how I've used this book, just like a sort of a break from whatever else I'm reading for a bit. Like I don't mind reading these for a couple of days, and then reading something else, and then not reading these again for another month or two. Like some of them are pretty funny. Like some of them are so absurd, and they're written in such absurd ways, and the characters are so absurd that some of them are actually quite humorous. Whether or not that was supposed to be in the intent, I don't know. But like here we are, about 200 years later. So, what their intent was in chronicling these stories, I don't know if that's really important to me. But I'm just gonna fucking take what I want out of them, like So so again, here we got not authored by the That's an interesting question, is it too? So like, who gets authorship here? So these people, these brothers Grimm, they apparently were, quite invested in them, in their Germanic heritage, and like this goes back before even like unified Germany was ever a country, and they had strong feelings about unifying, the German peoples of Central Europe, and so what their contribution was to wander around and gather up all these local Germanic fairy tales, many of which are quite similar too, I'd like to add. Some of them are almost the exact same story. And they gathered up all these stories, wrote them down for probably the first time ever. Like these would have just been stories that people would have told, and then they published them. So, like, do they get full authorship, being the first people to to actually write them down and commit them to the page? Like, perhaps they do. Perhaps they do. You know, did they these original creations of their own? No, apparently not. But again, who really cares? Who cares who really wrote them? They're here on the page, and we have the Brothers Grimm to thank for that. And so I'm gonna get into it. So today I'll be reading a story called "The Poor Man and the Rich Man," and it's not very long. It's pretty typical length, about 3.5 pages. And you have no idea how this story is going to go. You never do. So here we go. And readers aside. The Poor Man and the Rich Man. In olden times, when the Lord himself still used to walk about on this earth among men, it once happened that he was tired and overtaken by the darkness before he could reach an inn. Readers aside, you see what I mean? When the Lord himself used to walk around, and he got tired and it got dark and he couldn't find an inn, the Lord himself. What sense does that make? Like, what is that? What's about to happen in this story? I have no idea. God, that's just so weird. He couldn't find an inn? Why didn't he go back to fucking heaven or whatever the hell? Like, what? He's the Lord. I don't know. Like, is the Lord really supposed to just be some dude? That's just absolutely bizarre. Alright. And readers aside. Now, now there stood on the road before him 2 houses facing each other. The one large and beautiful, the other small and poor. The large one belonged to a rich man, and the small one to a poor man. Then the Lord thought, I shall be no burden to the rich man. I will stay the night with him. Okay. Readers aside, like, that was not the choice I was expecting of him. He's like, I'll stay in the rich house. Not a Jesus move, maybe. I don't know, but whatever. And there's another thing. Is the Lord Jesus or is the Lord God? Because oftentimes people just refer to Jesus as the Lord. Good question. I think I'm going to go with it's the Lord, our Father, God. Alright, yeah, I'm going to go with that. Because I think typically if you're going to call Jesus the Lord, usually you kind of point out it's Jesus first. And then you just kind of start addressing him as the Lord, you know. Because he is, basically. So, alright, so yeah. So God's come to a fork in the path, or not a fork, but he's going to knock on these rich guys' house and stay with them. Because the poor people probably won't have any food. And I guess he's hungry, maybe. This is actually fairly interesting. Alright. And readers aside. When the rich man heard someone knocking at his door, he answered the window and asked the stranger what he wanted. The Lord answered, I only ask for a night's lodging. Then the rich man looked at the traveler from head to toe. And as the Lord was wearing common clothes, and did not look like one who had much money in his pocket, he shook his head and said, No, I cannot take you in. My rooms are full of herbs and seeds. And if I were to lodge everyone who knocked at my door, I might very soon go begging myself. Go somewhere else for a lodging. And with this, he shut down the window and left the Lord standing there. So the Lord turned his back on the rich man and went across to the small house and knocked. He had hardly done so when the poor man opened the door and bade the traveler come in. Readers aside, I'm going to take a drink of water. Oh, that was much needed. should have done that before I started reading. Alright. And readers aside. Pass the night with me. It is already dark, said he. You cannot go any further tonight. This pleased the Lord, and he went in. The poor man's wife shook hands with him and welcomed him, and said he was to make himself at home and put up with whatever they had. They had not much to offer him, but what they had they would give him with all their hearts. Then she put the potatoes on the fire, and while they were boiling, she milked the goat, that they might have a little milk with them. When the cloth was laid, the Lord sat down with the man and his wife, and he enjoyed their coarse food, for there were happy faces at the table. When they had had supper, and it was bedtime, the woman called her husband apart and said, Dear husband, let us make up a bed of straw for ourselves tonight, and then the poor traveler can sleep in our bed and have a good rest. For he has been walking the whole day through, and that makes one weary. With all my heart, he answered, I will go and offer it to him. And he went to the stranger and invited him, if he had no objection, to sleep in their bed and rest his limbs properly. But the Lord was unwilling to take the bed from the two old folks. However, they would not be satisfied, until at length he did, and laid down in the bed, while they themselves lay on some straw on the ground. Next morning they got up before daybreak, and made as good a breakfast as they could for their guest. When the sun shone in through the little window, and the Lord had got up, he again ate with them, and then prepared to set out on his journey. But as he was standing at the door, he turned around and said, As you are so kind and good, you may wish 3 things for yourself, and I will grant them. Readers aside, so the Lord is a genie too, apparently. Like, why? Why granting 3 wishes? Fuck, that's weird. He's the Lord. Probably give them what you know they fucking need, man. You're the Lord. Probably knows better than them. 3 wishes. Alright. And readers aside. Then the man said, What else should I... pardon me. For the 3rd wish, I do not know what to have. And the Lord said to him, Will you wish for a new house instead of this old one? Oh yes, said the man. If I could have that too, I should like it very much. And the Lord fulfilled his wish, and changed their old house into a new one. Again gave them his blessing, and went on. The sun was high when the rich man got up and leaned out of his window and saw on the opposite side of the way a and today there is a beautiful new house. Run over, and see how that has come to pass. So his wife went and asked the poor man, and he said to her, Yesterday evening a traveler came here and asked for a night's lodging, and this morning when he took leave of us, he granted us 3 wishes. Eternal happiness, health during this life, and our daily bread as well. And besides this, a beautiful new house instead of our old hut. When the rich man's wife heard this, she ran back in haste, and told her husband how it had happened. The man said, I could tear myself to pieces if I had but known that. That traveler came to our house too, and wanted to sleep here, and I sent him away. Readers aside, you'll notice how they're not so much astonished that this is possible. People getting granted wishes and incredible things happening, things happen all the time, and like no one is ever suspicious that these proposed wishes can't happen. If someone says I'll grant you 3 wishes, they go, yeah, please do. I'll take that deal. Like they seem to all know that this magical ability of granting wishes is out there, and it's either a fish have it, or the Lord has it, or some random person. Like it seems to be endowed to any and all type of creative living thing, or maybe don't think I've come across a story where a rock granted 3 wishes, but I wouldn't be surprised if somehow a rock could speak and grant 3 wishes. That's not out of the realm of possibility, because sometimes inanimate objects will speak, and it won't explain why they're speaking. They'll just speak. So I wouldn't be surprised actually if I've read a story already where a speaking rock granted 3 wishes, and no one was fazed by it. They were just glad they got the 3 wishes. Where was I? All right. So that's some context for you. That was a good Reader's Aside, I think. And Reader's Aside. "Quick," said his wife, "get on your horse. You can still catch the man up, and then you must ask to have 3 wishes granted to you." The rich man followed the good counsel and galloped away on his horse, and soon caught up with the Lord. Reader's Aside, that's not good counsel. Like, why would the Lord grant him 3 wishes? It's fucking stupid. Greedy people in these stories are not the only stupid people, but they are probably the stupidest. Like, they would just walk right into like the most obvious bad bad situation. Like, they don't understand like when to stop, right? Or when they've done something wrong. They don't learn lessons. They just don't seem to have like any conscience whatsoever. All they have is some type of incredibly strong instinct to have things, regardless of never mind. I've explained myself. I'm kind of tired today. I don't really feel like searching for the right word anymore most of the time or something. What was I talking about? Good Lord. When is that chuff going to kick in? That chuff better kick in soon. Oh, almost dropped my book. What I'm saying is like people aren't like real human beings in these stories. Like okay, they're fairy tales. I get it. They're simple tales, but like in some stories, people will make the exact same mistake 5 or 6 or 7 times, and the 7th time they've made the mistake, they seem to be just as enthusiastic that somehow something's going to work out for them. The thing that they thought was going to happen the first time is going to happen this time, and they're not like any more like they're not any wiser at all. Like, no one gets wise in these stories. Like, absolutely nobody gets wise. Like, this guy turned the Lord away. In his eyes, just some common traveler. Then he went over to stay at the poor guy's house across the street. He wakes up. Poor guy's house has turned into a fucking mansion. Probably better than his. He sends his wife over. She gets the skinny. Comes back and says, yeah, that guy you turned back was fucking the Lord. And look, they grant him 3 wishes. And so he thinks that if he well, actually, it was her idea too. She's obviously just as dumb as him. She thinks, well, fuck, get on your horse, go ask him for 3 wishes, as if that's a good idea, and then he agrees, but without any any second thought whatsoever. Just seems to agree that that's a great idea. Sure, I'll get 3 wishes, but like, didn't the other people already told him like, yeah, we let him stay here and he gave us 3 wishes. You turned him down. Why would he give you 3 wishes? Like, something bad's going to happen. I guarantee you, something bad's going to happen to this guy just because he's fucking following up, catching up with the Lord and being like, yeah, can I have 3 wishes too? Like a fucking jerk, like a dumbass. Like, what's up with that? Who learns lessons from these stories when these are the characters, right? Like, who would do that? It's beyond greed. It's just fucking unrealistic. I don't know. Maybe we're not supposed to learn lessons. Maybe they're just fun little stories. It's just very strange. I don't know. Do you always have to learn from stories? Like, do people learn from these stories? Like, what's the base? Okay, what's the basic example here in the message? Be nice, and then like it'll come back to you. Sure, yeah, but like, if you're gonna write a fucking story about it, I like make the evil people like believable or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. I wonder what's gonna happen to this guy. I've really built it up now, haven't I? Probably done a better job than the Brothers Grimm did. With their fucking ridiculous 3.5 page fucked story. Alright, whatever. Where am I? Right there. Right. That's what set me off. The rich man followed the good counsel. Like, who's saying that's good counsel? Is that like the narrator? Or is it just the rich man feels in his heart that's good counsel, so he's following up on the good counsel? Like, is that sentence being written sort of like in the perspective of the good man, so we can get in his head? Or, because that's surely not, like, it's obviously not good counsel. I guess that is what must be what it is there, but that really did set me off, didn't it? Just trying to share my experience of reading these stories, because it's a lot of shit like this comes up where it's just bizarre. Okay, I'm gonna, let's just edit. Sorry, this has been going on for a while, isn't it? I really thought this was actually going to be a short one. I might pump out like maybe like a 10-minute episode. That clearly did not happen. Alright, and readers aside. He spoke to him softly and pleasantly, and begged him not to take it amiss that he had not let him in directly. He was looking for the front door key, and in the meantime the stranger had gone away. Okay, readers aside, he told him the exact reason, detailed reason almost, why he was turning him away. Because he had shit in his rooms, he had herbs and shit. Can't just be giving his room to people. Now he's just lying, bald-faced lie to the Lord about what took place between the two of them only a day before, like 12 hours before probably. What is going on in this man's head? Something terrible is going to happen to him. And readers aside. He was looking for the front door key, and in the meantime the stranger had gone away. If he had returned the same way, he must come and stay. If he returned the same way, he must come and stay with him. Okay, readers aside. So now he wants him to actually turn back. He's obviously going somewhere. He wants him to turn back. No, don't go where you're going. Come back. Stay with me tonight. I want you to come over. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who's this fucking transparent ever? What was life like in the Black Forest? Was it really like this? And readers aside. Yes, the Lord said. If I ever come back again, I will do so. Then the rich man asked if might not. Then the rich man asked if might not wish for 3 things too. Readers aside. I think we have a text omission here. I think the word he has been omitted. A typo. Not a typo, but I guess an omission. A kind of typo. Do you call that a typo still? Is a typo technically just an incorrect, like, spelling or grammatical error? Is an omission also a typo? I would say it is. I would call that a typo. I call that a typo. An omission is a typo. It's a kind of typo. Okay, and readers aside. Then the rich man asked if he might not wish for 3 things too, as the neighbor had done. Yes, said the Lord, he might, but it would not be to his advantage. and he had better not wish for anything. But the rich man thought that he could easily ask for something which would add to his happiness, if he only knew that it would be granted. So the Lord said to him, "Ride home then, and 3 wishes which you shall form shall be fulfilled." The rich man had now gained what he wanted, so he rode home and began to consider what he should wish for. As he was thus thinking, he let the bridle fall, and the horse began to caper about, so that he was continually disturbed in his meditations, and could not collect his thoughts at all. He patted its neck, and said, "Gently, Lisa." But the horse only began new tricks. Then at last he was angry, and he cried quite impatiently, "I wish your neck was broken." As soon as he had said the words, down the horse fell on the ground, and there it lay dead and never moved again. Reader's aside, so the Lord just snapped that horse's neck. The Lord's badass. Don't fuck with him. And reader's aside, and thus was his first wish granted. As he was miserly by nature, he did not like to leave the harness lying there, so he cut it off and put it on his back, and now he had to go on foot. "I still have 2 wishes," said he, and comforted himself with the thought. Read aside and take another drink of water. My mouth is parched, growing more parched by the moment. I think that chuff is starting to fucking kick in. I think it kicked in fucking halfway through that rant there about the good counsel. And reaches aside. And now as he was walking slowly through the sand, and the sun was burning hot at midday, he grew quite hot-tempered and angry. The saddle hurt his back, and he had not yet any idea what to wish for. "If I were to wish for all the riches and treasures in the world," said he to himself, "I should still think of all kinds of other things later on. I know that beforehand. But I will manage so that there is nothing at all left for me to wish for afterwards." Then he sighed and said, If I were but that Bavarian peasant, who likewise had 3 wishes granted to him, and knew quite well what to do, and in the first place wished for a great deal of beer, and, and in the second for as much beer as he was able to drink, and in the third for a barrel of beer into the bargain." What? And in the third for a barrel of beer into the bargain. You're just, I'm not really sure what that means. And what is this guy? What is he? He thinks the other guy wished for beer. What? If I were but that Bavarian peasant, who likewise had 3 wishes granted to him, knew quite well what to do, and in the first place wished for a great deal of beer. Is the Bavarian peasant supposed to be the poor dude, or is he referring to something else? I feel like he might be referring to some other person, as if there's like some Bavarian peasant story that everyone knows. I don't know. Because like he knows the guy has a house, right? Like he knows he just wished for all beer. And like, what's he saying now? Is he saying he should just wish for beer, or what? I think we're gonna have to read on to understand this. And readers aside, many a time he thought he had found it, but then it seemed to him to be, after all, too little. Then it came into his mind what an easy life his wife had, for she stayed at home in a cool room and enjoyed herself. This really did vex him, and before he was aware, he said, "I just wish she was sitting there in the saddle and could not get off it. instead of my having to drag it along my back, on my back. And as the last word was spoken, the saddle disappeared from his back, and he saw that his second wish had been fulfilled. Then he really did feel warm. Readers aside, what? I just wish she was sitting there on the saddle and could not get off it. So he, thinking of his wife at home, doing nothing, irritates him, or it vexes him, which I think that's probably the same thing. And before he was aware, he said, I just wish she was sitting there in the saddle and could not get off it, instead of my having to drag it along on my back. And then the saddle disappeared from his back, and he saw that his second wish had been fulfilled. Then he really did feel warm. So the saddle just disappeared. Did it show up again with his wife sitting on it? Or did he just assume that, well, she must be sitting on it at home now? And that made him feel warm, which I think is good. I guess that's what I'm supposed to take from that. Alright. And readers aside, he began to run and wanted to be quite alone in his own room at home, to think of something really large for his last wish. When he arrived there and opened the parlor door, he saw his wife sitting in the middle of the room on the saddle, crying and complaining, and quite unable to get off it. So he said, do bear it, and I will wish for all the riches on earth for you. Only stay where you are. Shit. I see. He fucked himself. She, however, called him a fool, and said, what good will all the riches on earth do me if I am to sit on this saddle? You have wished me on it, so you must help me off it. You must help me off. So whether he liked it or not, he was forced to let his third wish be that he should be free, that she should be free of the saddle and able to get off it. And immediately the wish was fulfilled. So he got nothing by it but vexation, trouble, abuse, and the loss of his horse. But the poor people lived happily, quietly, and piously until their happy death. Readers aside, that's the end of the story. So it was the start of the story, really. I think it was the I don't even know if you can really call him a terribly bad person now, because like at least he got his wife off the saddle. Like there have been much more evil characters in these stories, but would have told their wife to go fuck themselves. You know, they wouldn't have said that. There's no bad language in these stories, obviously, but essentially they would have just taken their wish from God and some riches. So at least he was able to get the maturity to cut his losses. And get his wife off the saddle, which was his fault. So he took some responsibility for that, which I'm actually kind of surprised. But he still got fucked over for just being stupid, basically. Going out there and trying to get some three wishes. Like, did you see the part where the Lord was like, yeah, if I'm around here, I'll come back again. And then he was just like, he just kept on. He's like, well, can I have three wishes anyways? Isn't that wasn't why he was? You know what I mean? Like, like obviously that's why. Like the Lord obviously knew. Okay, he heard how that guy got his house. I gave him three wishes. Now that's why he's here and wants me to come back to his house. It's the most transparent shit I've ever fucking seen, and he's probably seen a lot of the Lord. That doesn't work. And then the guy just has no shame and says, well, can I have three wishes anyways? You know what I mean? Fuck. So the Lord snapped his horse's neck. Right? And he probably knew he was going to fucking wish something like that. Like, how do we know that he didn't fucking know all that was going to happen? He's the Lord, isn't he? Isn't he fucking like doesn't he generally like not wander around in the woods and he's like omnipresent and omniscient? Like, was he still omnipresent and omniscient and walk around the woods at the same time? Like, what is going on with the Lord in this story? Is he just like, can he be somewhere specifically and still be everywhere? Like, probably, I guess. Or did we just encounter some sort of different interpretation of the Lord where he's much more limited? Very limited. Well, except for, well, he's basically like some kind of fucking magician at the very least. But, like, where was he even going? Like, why was he wandering through the woods? There's so many, there's always so much unexplained in these stories. Um, like, why not just turn that character into a magician? And yeah, because there are plenty of these stories. I don't be surprised. Well, maybe I should. What I mean is, well, maybe I will tell this to you. Maybe maybe I've just turned you on to the Brothers Grimm. Maybe you thought this was an interesting story. Maybe you agree with me and you thought that it was not so much interesting. It's just kind of right fucked up, and you wanted to read something for yourselves. What I was about to say is, don't be surprised if fucking you come across 2 or 3 stories in this fucking book that are exactly like this story, but the only difference might be that it's not the Lord, it's a magician. Because I don't expect to come across that variation of this story, but it very well could happen. Because like this book often just has like 5 or 6 variations on the same story every now and then. And what was my point? Well, right, my point was, why not just make the Lord a magician? Why is it the Lord? Why is that character the Lord? That makes this story just so incomprehensibly weird that it's just bizarre. I realize I'm getting hung up on that, but it did just make it so much stranger. Wait a second. Hold on. Do they know he's the Lord? Hold on a second here. Huh. You know what? I may have that might be a oversight on my part there. I may have gotten too invested in the story. I don't think he actually tells him he's the Lord. So they probably just think he's a magician. Because I think magicians were quite common in the Black Forest. But then again, then why make him the actual Lord? Yeah, they just think he's some traveler. Still, he's some traveler with magical abilities, and they don't know he's the Lord, but nonetheless, it's still incredibly, the guy's still being incredibly stupid, right? It's a little less dumb if you think you're trying to game just some run of the mill magician rather than the actual Lord, the Lord. But like nonetheless, like the logic of this guy's like requests and his actions, it makes it, there is none. There is none. Interesting. Interesting. So the Lord was incognito. This happens from time to time where I get a little confused when I'm reading stuff, and then upon reflection, it all becomes much clearer. And so I don't think this should really be taken as a any kind of a like a like I didn't fuck up there. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like terribly make any big mistakes and shit like that. Like did I go on for a long time criticizing the logic of the story based on false pretenses and something I had misunderstood? For a time, yes. That as I was reading it, yes. And then I finished the story, and like immediately after, I had an immediate reflection where I corrected myself, um, because that just what inevitably happens when whenever I am wrong for a bit. I'm always right eventually. Like mm, like so I clearly didn't make any serious and lasting mistake actually. Um, mm, it's a little embarrassing because like it's a uh, I don't know. Do I have to be embarrassed? I guess not. It's embarrassing trying to explain myself, I guess. So that well, I'm not sure how I'm going to come across here in this episode, but I think it's going to be usable. I think it'll pass. I hope it might be right on the line. Like mm, I feel kind of like a dumbass. I have to say that I am a little embarrassed. Um, because I was just so impassioned about that critical analysis that I was just you know delivering on my readers' side, and then to kind of reflect right after and realize, oh wait, they didn't actually know he was the Lord, which doesn't really change the my criticism. It does make it like I would not have been quite so vociferous, you know, and so I feel like I may have looked like kind of like a fool, however, still like totally correct in my in my in my logic. Like my logic was totally sound. Whether he's the Lord or a magician, the guy was acting very stupidly, and his wife that was not good counsel. His wife did not give good counsel. Fuck, that was dumb. So that's what I'm saying for myself, and I'm not defending myself, and there's no reason for me to, and there's actually probably more reason for me to actually be expectant of high praise and admiration for the way I've actually conducted myself and comported myself and behaved and other synonyms of that synonyms. Damn it, fuck. No, I can't say that word. No, I just threw it all away, didn't I? I was making a good comeback there for a moment. I was rejecting my failure and snatching great glorious success from the jaws of repeating doom. Now the doom has found me once again. It is not else to do but to close the book and end today's episode. Please feel free to call again sometime soon, where I will try to do this again. Until then, this has been Cliff, and I've just been pulling the leg. I didn't really feel bad actually. You thought that for a moment, didn't you? You thought I was going to end on that sad note. All fucking bemoaning shit. Sad for myself. Saying, oh, I fucked up again. I was saying some cool shit. And I fucking messed up again. Now, if you can forgive me, if you want to come back and listen again, oh, I would appreciate that. Nah, I wasn't saying that shit. You thought I was saying that shit. I'm Cliff, man. I don't give a fuck if you listen or not. This is my show. These are my books. And these are my opinions about them. And if I'm occasionally briefly long for a bit, that's not my fault. It is my fault, technically, but I don't care. That's what I meant to say. It is my fault. I don't care if it's my fault. A lot of things are my fault. This whole episode is my fault. I think I'm flirting with fucking botch territory here. If I don't shut up in like 5 minutes, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna flirt. I'm gonna flirt with botch territory. Bring it on. I'm gonna make myself listen to this 50-minute fucking episode again. They've all been 50 minutes for like the last 5 episodes. And I'm gonna debate, like, is that a botch or not? Like, that's pretty bad. I'm gonna do that because I don't care. Because I'm not afraid. It's the kind of man I am. What the fuck am I talking about? Alright. Okay, so, that's the end of the episode, and, you know what? I think that Chuck did kick in. Obviously did kick in. Because I've been, rambling and oscillating between, whatever dumb fucking thing I was feeling at the moment, and then the next, and so I'm just gonna have to let you go now, and, I have a lot of work to do, and, it's most nights, it's 10 o'clock, and I've done nothing. So please, go mind your own business. Before that, please, damn it, I wrote this down. Please, please stop fucking around, and, mind your own business. That's what I'm gonna say now at the end of the episode. I'm gonna say, grow up, be a man, stop fucking around, mind your own damn business, fuckers.